Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking at a really crazy, awesome passage from Ezekiel 47. When you look at the book of Revelation, you see images and you see signs and you see all these crazy metaphors that represent all sorts of things, and we could talk about that forever, but we're not going to right now. But a lot of these images that we see in the book of Revelation are actually echoes back to things that we've seen in the Old Testament before. It's like John is seeing in ways that others have seen. And he's explaining it in ways that you already have categories for if you've read the Old Testament. And we all remember in Revelation, you have this idea of the river of life, right? Flowing from the throne of God. And on every side of it are trees of life, right? It's this really beautiful image. And it finds, at least in part, it finds its roots here. In Ezekiel 47. So we're in a crazy vision section of Ezekiel, but let's see what's going on here in chapter 47. Then he brought me back to the door of the temple, and behold, water was issuing from below the threshold of the temple towards the east, for the temple faced east. And water was flowing down from below the south end of the threshold of the temple, south of the altar. And then he brought me by the way of the north gate and led me around on the other side. On the outside to the outer gate that faces towards the east. And behold, water was trickling out on the south side. Going on eastward, measuring out a line in his hand, the man measured 1,000 cubits. And then led me through the water, and it was ankle deep. Then he measured another 1,000 and led me through the water, and it was knee deep. And another 1,000, and he led me through the water, and it was waist deep. And he measured another 1,000. The river was so deep that I could not pass through, for the water had risen. And it was deep enough to swim in, a river that could not be passed through. And he said to me, Son of man, have you seen this? Then he led me to the bank of the river. As I went back, I saw the bank of the river, and very many trees on one side and the other. And he said to me, this water flows toward the eastern region and goes down to the Arabah and enters the sea. And there flows into the sea, and the water will become fresh. And wherever the water goes, every living creature that swarms will live. And there will be many fish. For this water goes there. For the waters of the sea may become fresh, and everything that will live there where the river goes. Fishermen will stand beside the sea and come from Engedi and Engalium, and it will be a place of spreading nets, and its fish will be of very many kinds, like the fish of the great sea. But the swamps and the marshlands will not become fresh, and they will be left there for their salt. And on the banks, both sides of the river will grow all kinds of trees for food, and their leaves will not wither, nor will their fruit fail, but they will bear fresh fruit every month. Because the water that flows from them is from the sanctuary. Their fruit will be their food, and their leaves will be their healing. Ezekiel sees this image of out from the temple, there's a trickling stream of water. And it flows, and as it flows, it grows. He goes out a certain distance, and it gets ankle deep instead of just a trickling of water, then knee deep, then waist deep, and then he's no longer even able to pass through it. And it's this beautiful image, and we hear Jesus talk about this, right? He has this living water that starts in you and flows forth to all eternity, right? It's calling back to this image of out from the temple and out from the presence of God, there's life flowing. And this life may start off small, and it may start off kind of like, we have a leak in here, what's going on? But as you go, you realize, no, there's something more to this. As time goes on, as space goes on, you see the impact of this little trickle is huge. And it's going into seas that were salty. Most people are thinking we're talking about the Dead Sea here. And it's flowing into the Dead Sea that's known for its salt content even to this day. And it's making it fresh and making it to where multiple things can live there. And you see it spreading life wherever it goes. On either side of the river, you see that it's so life potent that trees are popping up everywhere. And their fruit is good, and it's bearing fruit all the time, unlike normal trees. And its leaves, they have medicinal properties. You're able to heal with them, which is actually the very same language that we get in Revelation. And you get this idea that when you start interacting with God, and when you start embarking on your relationship with Him, it may start off small, but the life that God gives you doesn't remain small. It grows, and it grows, and it grows, and it has impact on things way outside of what you ever expected. So as you think about this, as you read through it again, as you look to Revelation, as you look to the word of Jesus, when you have all this water imagery, keep this in mind, and keep your own faith in mind. Maybe right now you're feeling like your faith is just a little trickle, perhaps even an annoyance to other parts of your life. It's messing up the way that you once saw the world. It's messing up how you want to do things. It's not really messing it up, but sometimes it's how it seems. But eventually it grows. Maybe you're ankle deep, maybe you're knee deep, maybe you're waist deep. Maybe you can't even walk through all the impacts that your faith has had on you and others in the life that you've given and are being given. So as you meditate on this, I want you to know, if you're barely trickling or if you haven't even started yet, a lot of time when God gives you life, He doesn't like punch you in the face with so much life you just can't handle it and you explode, because that wouldn't be very helpful, because then you'd be dead. But what He does, He starts giving you what you can handle, right? And then from that, He lets it grow. You hear multiple echoes to parables that Jesus tells when we talk about this kind of thing. But I just want you to meditate on that today. Meditate on the life that God has given you. Check and see the depth of your faith, right? Does it need to get deeper? Does it need to be spreading further? Does it need to be giving life or more life to those it comes into contact with? So keep that in mind today. I know that's a lot, and I know that's really dense stuff, but it's helpful when you know that you have this river within you, that God's presence is in you when you're a believer and you have the Spirit of God living in you. Everywhere you go, we should see effects like this river has. So maybe you need to start bringing more life into your community and family. Maybe you need to just start noticing what's going on in your wake as you walk by people and as you interact with people in the world. So I'll leave you with that today. If you want to subscribe to our channel, we put up videos fairly frequently nowadays. If you want to know when a new video comes up, you can click the bell icon. But until then, we'll see you next time.